person who used to be Relli, is not Relli anymore apparently, who came back at 11:09 to the scene to retrieve shell casings. Now again, story changed. Ultimately, he said it wasn't him, so some mystery man showed up at the scene at 11:09 apparently. But one of two things happened here. Either that really was Relli, like he first said on the video, coming back at 11:09, staying for 2 minutes, returned to the scene, and he lied, of course, then about being there with his girlfriend, if that was him, and about taking photos of the shell casings while there, because those photos weren't taken until 11:40, 11:45. Or the prosecution has absolutely no evidence whatsoever that he ever returned to the scene, ever. Whichever one you choose, the prosecution has no evidence at all that Relli actually recovered those shell casings from the scene. He could have called his girlfriend, Miss Parker, to back up his claim.
Oh, Lydia.
She was probably busy doing what she does, but she didn't show up. Their burden to corroborate it with witnesses. I mean, the word of Relli, I think, is fair to question. There are a lot of things in this case that are going to be easy to corroborate of his word, if they're true. I'm going to show you a little list. Those sort of cool I put together, but not yet. But there is no corroboration, and they couldn't. Lydia Parker could have come in here and said, yes, I went back with him. We found 2 shell cases. She's still his girlfriend, apparently. No evidence whatsoever that he took the shell casing off the scene. While on that point, by the way, the photos taken with Relli's iPhone of the alleged shell casing, allegedly taken at the scene, but not until 11:45, an hour and a half afterwards, they had time date stamps on them.
Was it New York?
What we didn't see from the prosecution was the GPS
Time
location
zone?
data for those digital photos on Relli's phone line.
Oh.
I mean, they didn't show you, what else they didn't show you was GPS location data from Relli's iPhone to show you where Relli was on November 6, 2021.
Oh,
that would solve a
boy.
lot of mysteries here. It's not like they couldn't have done it. GPS location data from Relli's iPhone, which they had. That would have answered all the questions.
They did it for Illz.
Corroborated.
They did it for Illz.
After all, you heard that law enforcement, in this case, went out of their way to get a search warrant to obtain GPS location data for ASAP Ill's iPhone. Just
We
to
talked
show
about it,
that
chat.
he was one near Selma Avenue and Vista Del Mar about 10:12 p.m. on November 6th. It showed that in his location data. And he was near Rocky's residence at 11:11 p.m. that night. That from Detective Flores' testimony, lest there be any confusion. The question was asked, and specifically, it's important because it showed they could have gotten GPS location data from their only witness who's not corroborated, and whose word may be a little shaky. And specifically, the T-Mobile information law enforcement obtained authorized to search Illz, Elijah Ulunger's, ASAP Illz, his call detail records, and his GPS location. Detective Flores is correct. And the GPS location data, I should say, answer yes, okay? And those records, the GPS location data that you all were able to obtain, showed that Elijah Ulanger, ASAP Ill's cell phone was near Selma Avenue and Vista Del Mar at approximately 10:12 p.m. on November 6th. Answer, I believe that's correct. Question. Those records also show that Illz, I'm just going to refer to him as Mr. Illz for the purpose of moving this thing along a little bit. ASAP Ill's cell phone was near Mr. Mayor's residence at 11:11 p.m. later that night. Answer, yes. Subsequently after, yes. Well, what that shows you is that not only had they had the ability to do that, they in fact did it. But why just for Illz? Why not for Relli? who claims he came back and found shell casings. That would have put an end to this mystery. Was he there? Was he with his girlfriend? Was he not there? You heard again. There was no dispute, by the way, about Illz that he was at Selma, Lisa Del Mar and Selma that night during the incident. You see him on video. And rather than looking to see where Illz was at 11 p.m., why don't they use Relli's GPS data to show you where he was at 11 p.m.? Was that him? Was that not him? Did he ever go back at 11:45? This would have answered all your questions. Either corroborated the story or not. Would have put the lie to it again. It would have also shown you where those iPhone photos of the shell casings were taken. Instead, you have to take his word for it. You just have to take his word for it. Yes, they could have done it. They did it with Illz for some reason, but not for Relli. So just take his word for it. If the word of any witness ever deserved to be tested in this case, it's Relli. I mean, it's a man whose tongue is a stranger to the truth. And they could have easily corroborated his story or shown that his story was not truthful. They just didn't do it. I want to pause here so this really sinks in. Detective Flores told you that he wouldn't want anyone other than the police taking evidence from the scene because that could hamper and hinder an investigation. This is obviously fairly important. As a detective, I asked him, you'd agree when conducting an investigation of an alleged shooting, you wouldn't want anyone who's not law enforcement removing evidence or taking evidence from the scene, right? Answer correct. Because that could hamper and hinder your investigation. Answer, it can. And that makes sense, because once evidence is contaminated, once an alleged crime scene is contaminated, there's no way to undo that. No way. You never get a second chance at it. If you want reliable information from a scene, it cannot be tampered with, it cannot be staged. If it's staged, it's useless. It's pointless to review it, because whatever you see, you have to reject. You have to. And that's exactly what Relli says he did here. And that's why it was even more important for the detectives to test his word by looking to corroborate it, but they never did that. To be clear, the prosecution just wants you to take Relli's word that he found shell casings at the scene. That's it, just take his word. After all, they presented to you nothing to corroborate it when they easily could have. And just ask yourselves, if Lydia Parker, Miss Earle's girlfriend, could readily corroborate his claim, don't you think you would have heard from her? The fact is, Relli didn't want her anywhere near the storeroom. Anywhere near the storeroom. Remember when I showed him a picture of Miss Parker, of his girlfriend? And I said, is that your girlfriend? He said, I don't know.
Oh. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Is this Miss Parker? We don't know if that's your girlfriend.
Couldn't really hear that, but
We're disturbed by that photo, but anyway, back to more important things. What he just said was, I don't know if that's my girlfriend. I'm just, anything he tells the truth about? I don't know if that's my girlfriend. That's not, I don't know. That's either yes or no. You couldn't recognize his girlfriend at one point. He said, oh, because she had makeup on.
there's a lot of women on the jury.
Right? I mean, she literally said, I don't know if that's my girlfriend. Why lie about that? Aside from his name, I don't even know if that's really his name. Did he not lie about anything in this case? I mean, you know that wasn't truthful testimony. He didn't want the only person who could or couldn't corroborate his story to be anywhere near this courtroom. That's neither did they. The judge told you, we The defense does not have the burden
Oui.
to do anything in this case. They do. They had the burden. We don't have to prove anything. We didn't have to introduce a single piece of evidence. We didn't have to produce a witness. That's because the laws of the United States